What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Young Legends podcast, where we help you get the cheat codes to the game of life. I'm your host, Caption, aka Caption Red, and we have the most amazing guest today, Mr. Cam Awesome. Cam Awesome is a well-known youth speaker and personality. He is an Emmy-nominated, 6-time USA National Boxing Champion, 2-time Olympic Trials Heavyweight Champion, and former captain of the USA National Boxing Team. Cam has been featured in several media outlets, including ESPN, The Washington Post, Rolling Stone Magazine, SI.com, and many others. Cam shares lessons he has learned from boxing with students across the country using humor and interactive activities. Cam, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing today, man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, this is great. I'm so excited about interviewing you and just learning so many things from you. And yeah, man, I mean, you're so accomplished, and I'm sure you have tons of stories. And I always like to start my episode off or my interview off with a cool story or a fun story. Would you like to share a story with myself and my audience?
Yeah. One thing I learned through public speaking is people aren't too interested in your stories where you're just awesome all the time. So I guess I'll share a story. The first time I did a comedy show, like I had started comedy in probably like 2012. And the way it kind of works is you go to open mics, and I did quite a few open mics. And when you do shows, it doesn't matter how good you are as long as you can sell tickets. And being that I wasn't accomplished in comedy in any means necessary, but I had some boxing fans, I could sell tickets. So they put me on a show, and basically they gave you as much time as you brought. And I packed out the show. So they're like, take as much time as you want, which at this point I had maybe, if I'm being honest with myself, maybe a solid 4 minutes of material. And I'm like, all right, light me at 25, which I didn't even know the term light me at the time. But I was like, yeah, I'll just do like 25 minutes. And I get there and I do like my opening joke, which like kills. But that's when I noticed like the difference between like the hole in the wall bars I was doing open mics at and an actual comedy stage. Like the lights are in your face and you can't see anyone besides the first row. And that's who people usually get picked on. And I saw that, like I did the joke, I looked up, I saw the bright lights, and I just froze and started stuttering. And I'm like sweating profusely. And out of a panic, I just reach in my pocket and take out my phone and just start reading jokes out of my phone, verbatim, out of context, like with no good timing.
Ouch.
And I'm just 2.5 minutes into it, I'm just bombing. But I have very supportive friends and they know it's my first comedy show. So they're just like applauding over and over and like high enthusiasm. So I'm like, maybe I'm killing. So I just continue this completely zoned out and I continue on. And it becomes clear that I am bombing. And I look up and I realize like someone is waving their cell phone at me. And I didn't know that means get off the stage. But because no one told me at that point, I've been doing comedy for like a few weeks. So what ended up happening was they got all the comics from the back because they didn't want to come off stage and physically remove the giant boxer. Mm-hmm. So all the comics in the back like get together in the back of the room and start waving their phones for me to get off stage. And I also didn't notice that, but my friends did. And that was like 75% of the crowd. So at this point, like everyone in the room is waving their cell phones back and forth for me to get off stage. And at that moment, I think I'm like, it's like a rock show. I must be killing it. And I didn't. Luckily, there's no footage of that, probably because everybody was waving their cell phones for me to get off stage instead of recording it. That was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had on a stage.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Gosh, I bet y'all laugh about it today, you and your friends, right?
Oh, they still make fun of me about it.
That's great, man. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can relate though, man. I've been on the comedy stage and I've bombed myself a few times, and the first time it just you understand, it just sucks because you're like, hold on, I thought I was good. What's going on here?
You'll get off stage like after killing. You're like, this is what I'm gonna do with my life. I'm not doing anything else. This is my calling. And then the like 2 hours later, the second show of the night, you get off stage. You're like, I need to go back to community college. I need to like get my life together. It's like
There you go.
ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. Go revisit your guidance counselor from high school, and that's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Cool, man. I love that story. That's a great one. Now, you do so many things. You get your hand in a lot of things, and you're doing great in a lot of things. I do want to know. I don't even know which origin story to start with, but I want to hear the boxing origin story because I think that is one that the audience would like to hear. But I'd also like to hear about comedy. But let's start with boxing first. How did you get into boxing?
Well, I had a pretty unhealthy relationship with food my entire life growing up, and I always struggled with weight, and I was overweight. And my senior year in high school, I decided to join a gym to lose weight, and actually in hopes of getting a prom date,
Hmm.
but that didn't work out. But the only free gym in the neighborhood was a boxing gym, and although I've never boxed and never was never a fan of boxing, didn't even like the sport. I like free stuff, so I decided to join the boxing gym. And after I lost all the weight, I decided to have one boxing match as like a gift to myself. And I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell anyone. I just did it, and I won. And I'd never won anything before because I never
Hmm.
made a team before. And I realized I like winning,
Hmm.
and decided to continue chasing that high. So I just continued boxing. I didn't really have a life plan of what I was going to do, so I was just like, oh, I'll just box until I figure it out. And that was many years ago. So I within my first 2 years, I won the 2008 Olympic trials and lost in the Olympic trials. Continued boxing. I won nationals in pretty much every year up to 2012. Won the Olympic trials in 2012, and then was suspended and kicked off the Olympic team for not filling out my drug testing paperwork. Left the country. Yeah, I left the country to fight in a tournament. A tournament you have to get drug tested to fight in. But I forgot to email them to tell them I was leaving the country. So they showed up to my house to give me a random drug test. Missed drug test is a positive drug test. Got suspended for a positive drug test. I got the minimum sentence a year, which they knew I got tested that same week and I wasn't doing anything illegal. It was just my negligence. So I was forced to take a year off from boxing and lost my number one spot, lost a chance to go to 2012 Olympics. Went through some depression, gained a lot of weight again, which is pretty common for me, and lost a bet, had to be vegan for 28 days.
Hmm.
And that diet also entails sobriety. So that's what like got me sober and lost a bunch of weight in the 28 days and decided I didn't like the negative person I became. So I did what enough adults don't take advantage of. Went to City Hall and symbolically killed off the old me by legally changing my name on my
Yes.
half birthday.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And it literally says that on your driver's license and all your paperwork now, right?
Yeah, birth certificate, passport, all everything.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so I changed the name and decided to return to boxing and won nationals 2013, 14, 15, 2016, won the Olympic trials, but then lost in the international qualifier, and I wasn't able to make it to Rio. That was on July 4th, 2016. That day, like I made a post on social media and said I was going to reinvent myself and possibly pursue speaking. Where I'm at now.
No, that's great, man. And you're killing it. You're out there spreading a really positive message. And I've watched your videos. It's really awesome to see you just dominating that arena as well. So tell us a little bit about your speaking business.
Named it Awesome Talks because figured it'd be catchy and I like slogans and stuff, so it's words that pack a punch. But
Mm.
I originally, first thing I spoke on was bullying because that was kind of near and dear to me since I dealt with bullying, which also, I guess, transitioned into cyberbullying and digital awareness. Right now I speak on bullying, physical, verbal, cyber exclusionary, and roasting. I'll speak on the long-term social media and the potential long-term effects of a digital footprint can have on future team, schools, and employers, goal setting and the resilience necessary to achieve said goals, and the new epidemic of vaping, which I still don't really understand. Like, I feel old because growing up, we just made fun of people who vape, and now kids think it's something cool. It's so odd.
Yeah, it's literally killing people and wreaking havoc all over people's lives. So that's awesome that you're doing that. So where do you speak at as far as your speeches go? Are you?
So actually, my first like speaking tour I decided to go on. I planned it out. Took forever to plan it. It was going to be 51 days. Planned everything out. Got my routes out. Booked hotels. Backup battery. Backup cash. Nothing could go wrong. If you want to make God laugh, tell me you have a plan. So
Mm.
took off at 11 a.m. and 3 hours into it, totaled my car.
Oh no.
Yeah, totaled my Prius. Her name was White Fiber. White because of the color of the car. Fiber because fiber is a good source for gas, and so are Priuses. Boom. I
Right.
think everyone should name their
Nice.
cars.
There you
Uh,
go.
so I figured it'd be kind of ironic if I were to quit 3 hours into it. So
Mhm.
I just made my way to a rental center, rented a car, got everything out of my total car, put in my rental car, and just continued on with the tour. Uh, Fun fact: when you rent a car that same day, it's more expensive, and when you're trying to return it out of state, it's even more expensive. So I ended up in the red for that tour, that 51-day tour.
Oh no.
Car, yeah, but I did learn a lot from it, and what came of it was I needed to buy a vehicle, and someone jokingly said, "You're a motivational speaker. You should like live in a van down by the river," which is like a Saturday Night Live Chris Farley skit. And I was like, "That's actually brilliant." So I bought a 2006 Dodge Sprinter, furnished it up, and I've just been living out of my van for the last year and a half. And I visit schools all around the country.
That's amazing. You literally took that to the. I didn't realize you're. I thought it was just a vehicle, but you were living out of the van as you were doing your speeches. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. It's got I got Wi-Fi. I got a coffee maker, microwave, 16-gallon water tank. Got a pull-out bed which turns to a couch. I
Hmm.
got a folding chair and a little office desk that's like retractable. So I save money from hotels, flights, rental cars, and Planet Fitness membership to shower and work out. So I mean, you learn how much you don't need in life because the first thing I had to do was like realize what do I take with me.
Hmm.
You don't need anything really. The idea of like a minimalist lifestyle is probably the greatest lifestyle there is. People have so much junk in their lives and they're so stressed out to pay for things that they don't even need. I wish more people could see the benefit in that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's yeah, I mean, it's kind of timely because this will come out, right before the Christmas shopping comes. So I'm glad that you're the voice of reason. Uh,
Oh yeah, I don't do obligatory holidays like
there you go.
Christmas. I just do holidays where you dress up for.
Ah,
I'll
there
do
you go.
Halloween, Cinco de Mayo, St. Patrick's Day, which I guess now is that like cultural appropriation now? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're okay on the St. Patrick's Day. I think you're okay. I don't think there's going to be a bunch of Irish people trying to fight you in the streets.
Well, maybe they'll be trying to fight me, but
Yeah,
the fighting Irish.
yes, indeed. That's awesome, man. Very cool. So, wow, man. Tell me about the how'd you got into comedy? Because I know that you started, but that was it just something that you just had a inkling for, or?
Uh, my friend and I would go to free comedy night, and everyone was just terrible. And I was just thinking, like, I could do better than this. But I
Hmm.
also don't like when people say, like, I could do better than that, and they don't actually try. because it's real easy to say you can do something, but it's, first of all, it's terrifying to actually step out of your comfort zone and do something you're not sure you know how to do. And it'll also allow you to gain respect for what other people do. Uh, I didn't realize that free comedy night was just open mic night, and that's where everyone goes to try out their jokes. So I actually went to open mic night and began doing comedy that way. And I got a better response than normal comics just because, like, they don't book you on how funny you are; they book you on how many tickets you can sell. And I can usually sell tickets in any city. So when I reach, let's say I'm speaking in New Jersey, or let's say I'm speaking in New York, I'll reach out to like a comedy club in New York and say, "Hey, I'm out there. Like to do a show on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you don't have to pay for my travel. I'll already be there." So that way I get to do comedy in different cities, and it's something to do in the evenings.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're still to some degree competitive boxing, is that correct? Or
Yeah. I was going to. I said that I was gonna July 4th, 2016. I was gonna stop boxing and pursue public speaking. And after realizing that I could do both, I wanted to make a run for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And then speaking blew up. Drove last school year. I drove 54,000 miles. Spoke at over 100 schools, and life was just so busy that I just kind of dropped the idea of boxing. And in August, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about motivational speakers and how most of them should stop doing motivational speaking because they're not even motivated themselves and not doing anything but talking about motivation. And I kind of felt like he was talking to me, and I felt I was bothered by it because there's truth. Kind of struck a chord, and I felt like I quit all my goals and all I was doing was talking about what I used to do. So that kind of lit a fire under me. So in August, I started preparing for what I'm doing now. So I was booking a bunch of gigs, but I was also working out twice a day. Was going to different gyms in different cities. I was speaking in to get boxing workouts in, and because my dad is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, I decided to fight for the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic team instead of the USA Olympic team. Sunday night, I was in Trinidad and I fought in their Olympic trials finals, and I won by a second round knockout. So as of now, I'm training for the 2020 Olympic team for Trinidad and Tobago.
that's awesome, man. That's dang. Just the idea of doing everything and going to the Olympics. I mentally can't fathom it, but you're making it happen, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping it works out. It's taught me to prioritize a lot. I realized that doing the van life, I didn't care about how many gigs I booked. I actually booked a lot, but it wasn't about the money. I just wanted to go to different cities, try different vegan restaurants in different cities, and now I'm a little more efficient with it, building a schedule in advance and reaching out to multiple schools within the district at once because I'm not trying to live on the road speaking anymore, so I have to live in the gym training. So
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it's inspiring nonetheless. Now, speaking of your fighting career, what are some important life lessons that you learned through boxing? Oftentimes you hear people say, sport is just a great teacher of life. So what are the things that you learned that you didn't know going in as a 17, 18-year-old that just really helped you dominate in boxing and just in life overall?
first thing I would say that I learned was growing up, I thought big people knew what was going on. Like when I'm a kid, I thought older people, like I listened to them because they're older, they know what's going on. And as I got older, I realized no one knows what they're doing. Like
Yeah, right.
no one knows. Some people get lucky. Of course, skill and hard work's involved, but also nothing is real. It's all an illusion. No one knows what they're doing. To prove that, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm talking to kids about what they should be doing. Granted, I'm pointing them in the right direction, but there's so many variables in life that there's no right way to do something, but there are a lot of wrong ways.
Sure.
So, and I do believe that boxing is the greatest metaphor for life because everyone's fighting their own internal battles. And The three greatest lessons I learned from boxing, which I speak about in my presentations, is hard work, because I didn't know what hard work was until I got punched in the face for not working hard enough. Small details, and how everyone focuses on the big picture, but it's the actual small details that will get you a lot further in life. And resilience. If you can fail without being discouraged, success becomes inevitable. Those are the three greatest things I've taken from boxing.
That's great, man. Yeah, all three of those things are just very, very important, and particularly the resilience thing. I mean, it's all important, but oftentimes people just give up, or they allow things to just take them down further than it should. It's okay to be knocked down, but staying knocked down is just a different story, right?
Yeah, and I've witnessed so many people come around and fall short of their goals and just accept it, which I don't have that in me.
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of people like post about what they're going to do. Like everyone talks about what they're going to do, because it's easier to talk about what you're going to do than what you've done. That's
sure.
kind of the reason why I kept this whole Olympic run to myself since August. Because of course I could post about it like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going to be doing next. But I feel like everyone could do that. There's nothing special in that. So I kind of just kept my head down, kept to myself, worked out twice a day, did the speaking, built the business. And I just officially announced it yesterday when Yahoo Sports released an article about it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And what is that phrase? The talk is cheap is the phrase, but it's actually free.
Yeah, talk is free. Yeah, unless you're booking me, right. I got a fee.
Yeah, exactly. That's good, man. That's good. I want to backtrack to you being a senior in high school to 2 years later winning on a high level. How did you go from, never boxing before to now being a 20-year-old champion, especially considering you said that you hadn't won anything before. So, I was expecting you to say, I've was a freshman quarterback on the varsity and this, that, and the other. And I'd be like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. No, I think that one of the problems is I went to a very large high school and middle school, and so many people try out for the teams. And I never got a chance to even make the team to show that I could work hard because there's so much competition. And, a lot of the kids were in like little league and rec leagues growing up. Like I didn't know any of the rules to football when I tried out in middle school. So I didn't have a great advantage. And the cool thing about boxing is there's no team to make. And you are just going to be as good as you allow yourself to be. And as long as you work harder than everyone else, you'll be better than everyone else. So that's the kind of the approach I took to it.
That's awesome. And what exactly did that look like? Because other people are training. So would it be like staying late? Would it be, eating your egg yolks in the morning? Like what was that like doing the extra? Like, I don't know if I'm getting too technical. But...
Oh, no. Like the thing I believe that separated me was I would just literally work out as hard as physically possible all of the time. I didn't hang out with anyone. I didn't have any friends. If you wanted to hang out with me, we're going to work out. If you don't want to work out with me, I don't want to hang out with you. I didn't do birthdays. I didn't go to Christmas vacation with families. I didn't do anything. I literally obsessed over boxing because I figured if I obsessed over it and I literally did everything in my power to where I know if I lost, there's literally nothing else I could have done. If you train that hard and prepare that hard, when it gets a little tough during the fight or you get a little tired, you mentally don't allow yourself to lose. And I would enter the ring with the confidence that I was going to win because I put all the work in. So I trained like I thought I was a loser, and I walked in the ring like I was a king. And I genuinely believed that it's just procedural, where I have to show up, make weight, the ref has to get in the ring, I have to get in the ring, my opponent has to get in the ring, and then we have to fight. But we're all doing this because we all know that I'm going to win. Nice. It sounds cocky, but I genuinely, that's my approach to it. And I know a lot of people who work out really hard, they're in great shape, but they don't have the mental toughness. And there's some people who have the mental toughness, but don't have the athletic ability. And those people are the ones who like brag about being able to take a punch. That's not my MO. I don't want to get hit.
Sure.
Like, I'm so terrified of being hit. You'd be surprised that I'm even boxing.
Very cool. So tell me about this whole, you said that bullying is near and dear to your heart. It sounds like you've gone through bullying. I know that Mike Tyson did. You'd be surprised how many people get bullied through their life, that you feel like, who would ever bully that person? But it sounds like you've experienced that. So would you like to just tell a little bit about that and maybe give some advice to people who are going through it right now?
Yeah. My deal was I wasn't a very aggressive kid. I didn't like to play in dirt or any of that. I had two sisters. I jump rope, I double dutch, I can braid. Like,
Nice.
I didn't have any male figures in my life, and that was easily spotted out when I was at school. Like, I had a lot of feminine mannerisms, and like even I remember middle school when we like had to take showers in middle school for the first time. I used to put my towel like right below my neck, like put it across my whole chest, because all of the females I've ever seen, like everyone I've ever seen, that's where they put their towels.
Sure.
But like guys put it around their waist. That was like the first thing I remember being mocked for in like middle school. And kids pick on the weak kids. So I was very non-confrontational, and people could sense that, and that's why people would just provoke me. And I figured once I learned how to fight, I just want to beat everyone up. But I realized once you learn how to fight and you have the confidence of a person who knows how to fight, and other people know you how to fight, you know how to fight, you don't have to fight.
Right.
So I believe that kids are being bullied. I think they should all sign up for boxing. They don't have to fight. They don't have to spar. They don't have to get hit. I just believe the workout alone and knowing how to throw a punch and being in the gym will give a kid confidence. And whether or not he ever punches a person, all the other kids in school are like, "Oh, he's a boxer. Don't mess with him," and that will get him left alone, him or her left alone.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to what you would do if you were a young person being bullied, what is something that you wish you had known growing up that has really revolutionized your life? Like me, myself, like I had a really big nose growing up, and I didn't realize my face was going to grow into it one day. And that it actually, it's an asset, not a liability like it used to be. So,
I would say the big thing for me was no one cares.
mm,
I wish I would have known that no one cares. Every day I went to school like, and I didn't know anxiety was a thing, but I suffered from it. Like to the point where middle school, high school, I always volunteered in the nurse's office during my lunch hour because I got my lunch first. I didn't have to be in the large lunchroom with all the kids. Everyone's talking, and it freaked me out. I didn't know anxiety was a thing back then, but like I had anxiety, and I knew everyone was always looking at me and judging what I'm wearing and like critiquing me. And if I wore the same shirt on Monday that I wore on Thursday, like people would know. And then I grew up and I realized literally no one even knew I existed. Like everyone's so worried about themselves in school. If I went to my 10-year reunion, which I didn't, no one would even know who I was. I made what other people thought of me such a significant part of my life, and I wasn't a significant part of theirs. And instead of enjoying my childhood, I was just paranoid all the time. And I think a lot of kids are doing that, and especially since the age of social media and likes, and everyone wants to be relevant. And if you think you're relevant, it also doesn't help. I wish I would have known, like, no one cares that I'm wearing the same shirt today that I wore 3 days ago.
yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Yeah, we're so self-conscious when you're young. You're just like, oh my gosh, like, what are people gonna think? That was a thought that ran through my head a lot when I was a teenager. What are people gonna think? And
Yeah.
they're not. They're not
Yeah,
gonna think. Um,
not at all.
That's awesome, man. Speaking of which, have you run into some people that you grew up with? What's that like? Now that you're just this accomplished boxer and you're a speaker. I mean, like you're winning in so many categories. I feel
Yeah.
like that interaction must be a very interesting one.
Actually, I don't see too many people from my childhood. I actually went to Spoken. I was Philadelphia. Well, I spoke in New Jersey. It was right across the bridge from Philadelphia, and on Facebook it showed that like one of the few people I spoke to in high school was in town, and I hit her up, and we went out for dinner, and she's like reminded me a bunch of things about high school that I like completely like blacked out of my memory. Like I got beat up by a girl in ninth grade.
Wow.
Totally forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. I
Wow.
guess I didn't win that fight.
Yeah, I'm sure she doesn't want a rematch though, right?
I've been training for.
That's wild, man. Yeah, that's funny. I bet she's seen you on TV or something and just been like, "Whoa, holy
I
smokes."
we're trying to remember her name. I wish I could.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's yeah, well, it must be nice anyways just knowing, when you do run into whoever it is. It's gonna be like, not that I'm throwing this in your face, but I am successful.
I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Exactly. That's awesome, man. Okay, so besides the missing your drug tests and going up and doing comedy when you shouldn't have, attempted a whole half-hour comedy special all by yourself, are there any other mistakes that you learned through life that you wish you had, just mistakes that you learned that helped you to learn about life that you feel like everyone in the world should know?
Yeah, you're not going to learn anything in your comfort zone. And
Mm.
I used to get jealous, and now I used to get upset at people who are good at things. Like if you're good at basketball, I'm like, man, you're lucky you're good at basketball. You're lucky you're born good at basketball. Because I genuinely thought people were just born good at stuff. And I didn't realize you got good at stuff from sucking for a long time. Like, I bet if you listen to like one of your early raps, you just cringe.
Oh, you
Like
have no idea. Yes.
that's like I wish I would have known. Like all you have to do is just suck at something long enough to not suck at it. And that's why like anything that I pick up now, I put my all into everything I do, but I also realize that I'm gonna suck for a while. And I kind of train myself to be ignorant of my ability. Like
Mm.
I've done I've done like speeches where like when I first started, I've done speeches where I got off stage, I'm happy, I'm hyped. You see me and like I just killed like Madison Square Garden,
Hmm.
huge crowd, like I'm on a high. But if you watched it, you're like, he did terrible.
Right.
Just no sense of like realization. No, I don't. Because having a sense of realization is not going to help anything. I
Yeah.
being hard on myself that I suck. I'm like, I've been doing it less than a year. The only thing I could do is improve. But a lot of people just see that they're failing at something and they kind of just drop it. And I just figured I just will act like I don't suck.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's awesome. And it's funny that you said that because my first speech, I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is where the legend starts," or something like that. That
Yeah.
thought that thought ran through my head, and then I got the reality email back from one of the assistant principals that hired me. So I understand.
What was that email like?
Oh, it was just like, here are, things that you should have worked on or done better on, that kind of thing. And it's all good. It's just one big learning process. Um,
You know
so,
the
so
thing that you do? Yeah, don't do any of that.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, indeed. That's funny. You should see the smile on my face right now. It's real. Um, very cool. So, is there any life hacks that you've learned that kind of just made things move faster? Obviously, you have to do the repetitions and comedy and speaking and working out for boxing. But was there anything that really just helped you, whether it was like a mindset life hack or just any other hack that you were just like, whoa, man, this is super helpful and bringing me closer to my goal faster?
I would say definitely a mentor.
Mm,
I
yep.
accidentally stumbled into a mentor. Like this guy, Kerry Phillips, he's a great speaker. He's with the National Speaker Association, super accomplished, very humble. And he thought it was cool that I was boxing, and he has this thing he calls the office, where he has an office. He has an office. He has a building office. He has an office in his home, but he spends 99% of his day at the coffee shop. He works from the coffee shop, and it's just like he calls it his office. And I would meet him there like every day. I would meet him there, and we just talk about the speaking world and give me insight and his opinion. And I take notes when I meet people. That's another life hack.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I meet someone, I go in my phone under my folders, under notes, and it's labeled "Meet Me," and next to it is everybody I've ever had a meeting with. When I talk to you, I have my phone in my hand because I'm taking notes. You tell me a book to read, I'm writing it down. I'm writing the name of the person that told me to read the book, the date we met, and like Kerry Phillips, his list is the longest on my meet with list. And if I look far back enough, you're on that list too.
Oh man, thanks.
Yeah. Like, because you learn different things from other people, from different people. And one thing I hate is if you ask me advice, you're like, oh, how do I get started speaking? And I say, do this, this, and that first. And you come back and ask me the same question in 3 months, you're just wasting my time.
Sure.
My fear is that if you tell me to do something, like if I ask you your advice and you tell me what to do, my fear is running into you before I get it done.
Sure.
Because I wouldn't want you to waste my time, and I wouldn't waste your time. So I meet with people, I take notes, and like it's on the same notes page. And like Kerry Phillips, every time we meet, I'm like, all right, March 11th. I'll look at the notes now. Like last time I met with Kerry, May 31st. All the notes from then, before then, was May 31st, April 3rd, January 30th. Every time I met with him, I have all these notes. And I think that people should take notes, like organize them and follow through with it.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people do that.
No, that's great. Yeah, you're the second interviewee that has said that. So you got to take that home to the bank.
Yeah, and lists. I'm big on lists. Like I have a few different lists. One of my lists is basically everything I have to do, everything I need to get done, like short term.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally write literally everything I have to do, to even cutting my nails, everything I need to do on that list. And every time I accomplish something off that list, I put a smiley face emoji next to it.
Nice.
And at the end of the day, I get to look at all the things I had accomplished. And if I look and there's not much accomplished on the list, I feel terrible about myself. And whatever's on that list, the first thing on that list is the last thing from yesterday. So I try not to leave the things I don't want to do last, because then I'll have to do it first the next day.
Oh yeah. No, that's good. Very cool. Yeah, making the list is the smiley face emoji. That is definitely a hack, because that's like, you look at it and there's some dopamine release, I'm sure.
Oh man, that's why I put every little thing. And I was like, should I put every little thing? Yeah, I should, because you get to look back at what you've done.
Sure. Absolutely, man. That's good. Very cool. I want to go back to the first part of what you just said. The mentorship is absolute gold. And I always tell young people, like, anywhere you want to go, someone else has already been there, and they can show you what to do, and they can show you what not to do, and shave years off of your life. Now, Kerry sounds like a very giving, generous guy. But how were you able to maintain that mentorship? Because you know how it is. If all you're doing is taking, eventually that person peters out, and it's no longer a mentorship, because it's a two-way street.
Yeah. I think he tells me that he learns a lot from me. He knows so much that I don't feel like I could teach this man anything. But I think one of the greatest things you can do to, I guess, hold on to a mentor is actually show them that you're actually taking their advice and putting action to their advice. I can't actually, I actually take that back. You don't need to offer anything to a mentor. If your mentor is successful and they know what it takes to be successful, I've never met a successful person who isn't willing to help somebody who's just as hungry as they were.
Hmm.
So I would say if you're taking action, if you ask your mentor something, do it, follow through, and let them know that you do it, and thank them. I don't think enough people do that last part.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't like giving people advice if they're not going to follow through with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if any speaker or anybody who's come to me like, Cam, I want to get started, yeah, I'll give you a few things. I'm not going to give you too much of my time, but I'll give you a few things that I think you should do. And if you come back to me and that's done, I am sold. You have me. Anything you need, any information, I'll give it for free because I am nothing but the product of a lot of help from a lot of people. And my way of giving forward is to help someone else. And I believe every successful person has that. And I don't have the famine mentality that like there's enough for everyone. I believe there's enough gigs for everyone. There's enough money for everyone to go around. There's enough opportunities for everyone to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great, man. Yeah, so just do the thing that you said you were going to do. I'm quoting Shia LaBeouf. I don't know if you've seen
Do
that.
it. Do it.
Oh man, that's a great one. Very cool, man. So Cam, tell me what you're up to. Let's talk about your goals. I just think everybody wants to know what you got planned for the rest of 2019 and 2020. What are you working on? How can people support you? And I just want to hear the cool stuff you're doing.
So right now for me, what I've done is I've created an online course to teach athletes how to supplement their income on their own schedule to allow them financial freedom as they chase their goals, whether it's college basketball or the Olympics, because a lot of people don't realize athletes don't make a lot of money. There's some athletes who make a lot of money, but like Olympic level athletes and like a professional bowler, they'll probably have a full-time job too. And I believe that the traits it takes to be successful in sports are parallel in every industry in life, in any avenue in life. And I believe that athletes have the insight and the character traits it takes to become successful. And I'm teaching them how to use their story to leverage it to teach other people. So I named the course Mission AU79, which is the atomic symbol for gold.
Oh
And
yeah.
so Mission Gold. And yeah, I'm releasing it December 1st. It's going to be a 12-part course. And in that course will be there's workbooks and for you to fill out. There's gives every detail of starting a speaking business from scratch, how to create an LLC, how to create a speech, how to come up with content, how to build an online presence, how to establish yourself as an expert, the technology, apps, and things you'll need to purchase, how to acquire quality video for your presentation, basically everything you need to do to build a successful speaking business. So I've been working on that course and officially finished with that, be released December 1st. Also, I started a reusable telescopic straw company.
Nice.
Yeah, it's called Sucker Duckers.
Nice. Is that suck it up or sucker duck?
Sucker Duckers. SUCKADUCKA.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So the term sucker duckers, like where you wear sunglasses and a hat to like duck the suckers,
Mm.
that's a term they used like back in the days. And I just reuse that term because avoiding suckers, avoiding straws, sucker duckers, and helps with the environment. But also, every school that books me, I give them a special link to sell online so they can share it with their students and their teachers. And every straw they purchase, I donate $5 to that school.
Nice.
So it's a way it's not so much for me to make money through selling straws. It's for schools to do fundraising and for me to be on the school's radars at all time.
Yeah, man,
Just
that's great.
different ways to leverage myself.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, and I'm sure they appreciate the extra money that will be coming in for it. That's awesome. And also, you're going to do this little thing called, getting in the Olympics.
Yeah,
Something
that
like
little
that.
thing.
Oh, that's amazing, man. Well, I will make sure that I know exactly when you're going to be fighting. Are you in, by the way, or what's?
I won the Olympic trials in Trinidad. I still have to qualify in the Americas tournament in March. Now I'll be posting about that. But just until then, my goal for January is to do at least one speaking engagement every school day in January, while maintaining like working out and training and all that. So I'll have to fund my trip to the Olympics. So it's going to be a little costly, but worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, man, you'll just be, inspiring people with your story, and yeah, it's just it's really cool to see you on that journey. And of course, you have that Netflix special, little thing called the Netflix special that we didn't bring into the fray, but there's that too.
Yeah.
Um,
There's two of them. There's a Counterpunch and Destination Team USA. The second documentary on Netflix.
oh wow, okay.
Who's counting?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Also from the ground up on iTunes, but who counts?
oh, nice. Goodness gracious. He's on like everything, just whatever. That's awesome, man. Very cool. Sweet. Well, we're getting close to the end of the interview. Is there any final thought that you want to share that you feel like we didn't talk about during the interview, but you're just like, man, you know what? This is something that young people need to hear.
I think what I think young people need to know is the only reason a lot of people follow trends and they follow what's successful. And the only reason why something is successful is because someone tried it for the first time. Now, you
Nice.
can be someone who fits into the mold and does what someone else did to be successful, but you'll never be as successful as they are because you're just a duplicate. But everything had become successful the first time because someone had to try something new. So step out of the box, take different approaches, and even if you look like an idiot when you fail, I'd much rather look like an idiot failing than be unaccomplished in life because of the fear of failure. So think outside the box.
No, that's awesome, man. That's, you know what, that is a perfect way to wrap up that all the good things that you were just dropping. Very cool, man. All right, Cam. Well, we are pretty much at the end of it. I am going to go ahead and do this little thing called freestyle rapping. The kids seem to
Nice.
like it. So I'll just talk about the things that we talked about and see where it goes. All right, check. Yo, check me, I'm just bossing. Cam F awesome, doing a bunch of things, chilling in the ring against the roast, but he keeps on swinging, and that's what he says. Motivation bringing all the freaking time. He's up on the stage, ain't up in a rage, but he's busting the jokes, really quite dope. He got you with the right hook, that is the freaking opener. Yo, I'm just dope as wood, spitting freestyles, talking about work. You gotta put in work all the freaking time. Blood, sweat, and tears, whole bunch of fears that you gotta overcome. You got to run harder than the next man. That's what you gotta do. Yo, I just drop a few rhymes all the time. Talk about things. You gotta persevere. Gotta be resilient up in here. I'm talking to my dude right freaking now. Changed his name, but didn't change the game. He just keeps it inspirational all the freaking time. Come right now. And yo, I just rhyme. I'm talking about the things that you gotta do. Step out the box and think outside it. You are just arriving if you keep going. And that's what I say. You gotta keep showing yourself what you could do all the freaking time. And that's what I do. I come through and find the comfort zone. I gotta get out, not leave it alone. But yo, I just shown skills all the time. And that's how I go. Spit freestyles up in the flow. Spit off the top. And that's how I go. And that's what I said with a Cam F flow.
Hey, you end every show like that?
Oh yes, got to end the
No.
shows like that, man.
That's dope.
Got to go for it, man. Just it's just something I do that makes people happy, and if nothing else, it makes myself happy, and there we are. But
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Cam, I wish you nothing but the utmost success with everything that you're doing. I want you to go ahead and just share your social medias with the audience. So, where can people find you, follow you, book you to speak, the whole nine?
All right. You can find me at camfawesome.com or camfawesome, CAMFAWESOME, on all social media channels, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also, I don't know, probably Craigslist Misconnections. You never know.
Nice. Oh man, yeah, that's people are looking for you. They're just like, hey man, who's that inspirational vegan guy who
Yeah.
could destroy me, but was very kind and hilarious? Where are you, man?
Who's that passive aggressive vegan? Vegan
Yeah,
boxer.
yeah, you're just you're like in every major city that you speak at. They're just like, well,
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. Very cool. All right. Well, I'll make sure to tag all of that in the show notes. Cam, thank you so much for just dropping your knowledge. Thank you so much for just being an inspiration. And yeah, man, I'm so happy to have you on. And I know that everybody will enjoy your stuff. So yeah, man, until next time, I'd actually like to interview after some of these things roll just to kind of get a catch up.
Awesome. For sure, man.
All right. Have a good day, man.
You too. Take care.